I got this.
Yeah, I think aim in Valorant is pretty similar to CSGO. Everyone can have good aim, but what separates a good player and a great player is the knowledge of the game. So being able to use their agent to their full potential and like understanding what's best for the team to win and just means more than being able to just flick fast and, you know, just hit nice shots, in my opinion. Having good crosshair placement means you can imagine where the enemy is and put your crosshair on them before you peek that angle. Having map awareness also helps with crosshair placement because you know every angle to peek. You want to try to keep the crosshair at head level, and then you only focus on moving your crosshair side to side if you have to adjust. Yeah, crosshair placement is one of the most important aspects of the game. Not only does it make things a lot easier when you have good crosshair placement, but you don't need to have like crazy fast reactions if you have good crosshair placement. After you get better at placing your crosshair before you peek angles, you start to have that advantage in a way because you can react faster by not having to move your crosshair as much. Example is if you're walking up sewer on Haven, if say you want to clear top right of sewer, basically if they're in this angle right here, you want to put your crosshair like right here as you're walking up, right? Because that's the angle you're pre-aiming. So by the time you peek that angle, your crosshair is already on him if he's playing this angle. And then if you want to clear the close right angle, you obviously would put your crosshair right here because by the time you peek, that's where your crosshair will be. So it's all about just imagining where the enemy will be before you peek that angle or spot. And then if you want to peek like right side default, obviously you would put your crosshair more like right here. So when you come out, you know, you're peeking that. And obviously if you want to peek heaven, you know, you kind of put it up and you peek like this. Also, you know, if you're going to clear left side default, you know, you're going to put it more to the left. If you have your crosshair on them by the time you peek, I definitely feel like you have an advantage. So, and obviously having map awareness and like understanding where the boxes are and like how far up heaven is, like, you know, that stuff obviously helps. Some ways you can get better at crosshair placement. You can practice crosshair placement by just trying to peek common angles and corners. And you can ask yourself if someone was holding that angle, like would your crosshair or would my crosshair be on them, right? So that's just some ways you can think about it. But other than that, yeah, you just gotta play the game. Try to make counter-strafing a habit because not only does it make your first bullet more accurate, but it also makes you harder to hit compared to someone that's standing still. So what I mean by that is if you counter-strafe to peek long, you have a better chance of shooting first because you're already stopped, right? And then your bullet is also has a better chance of being accurate and hitting them. So counter-strafing is super important.
When you hit something like right, you immediately have to hit left to stop, or left and hit right to stop. The moment that you hit the counter button is the moment that you can shoot your weapon. So say if I'm hitting D to go right, the moment that I hit A is the moment that I can shoot my weapon and it'll be accurate.
It's really strong, it's really hard to hit, and if you can master it, you're gonna be really good at peeking angles, and you're just gonna have that advantage when taking a fight because usually you're gonna be the one that takes the first shot. Alright, for example, if you think Opper or someone might be posted at the default box at C on Haven and you want to peek them, the best way is to counter strafe left side. This is something I like doing. You get close to the wall, counter strafe to the left, and you let go right as you're peeking the angle. That way you're ready to shoot really fast instead of counter strafing all the way out, and he has a better chance of shooting you, and he might have a faster reaction the more you counter strafe. Whereas if you counter strafe where you can peek the angle perfectly, he might not expect that, you know. So counter strafing is super important. So when you clear a corner or a common angle, you have a better chance of seeing the other person first if you peek further away. So you already have an advantage if you peek further away from the angle, because if someone is playing, say, right here in this cubby, if I peek them from close up, they're gonna see me before I see them. They're gonna see me right here. Whereas if I peek it from far behind, I will see them before they see me. Like, I would see their gun or their shoulder or something right here, whereas they probably wouldn't even be able to see me. So it's really important when peeking angles and clearing corners. Just keep that in mind. Yeah, using ADS is very situational. The only times I recommend using it is when you're taking a specific fight or using a specific weapon. For instance, on Haven, if you're holding this sewer peek from back here, usually it's a headshot angle, right? So then it would be a good time to use ADS, because you can only see their head, and so it definitely helps in that regard. Another instance is like if you're using the Odin, it's 10 times better if you use it with ADS. So this is me not using ADS. This is me using ADS. So I mean, there's a big difference there, right? Also, the Bulldog is another weapon that's really good on ADS, assuming they're not super close, but like medium to far range, using ADS on the Bulldog is really strong. Just keep in mind it turns it into burst fire. I practice my aim by playing against bots in the range and also by playing the deathmatch mode. I specifically focus on consistent flicking and crosshair placement are the two main things when I practice. And I think if you focus on those two things, it can really help out with your aim. Yeah, so some ways you can practice flicking. For instance, you can just put your crosshair away from the enemy and then practice flicking towards them like that. Instead of trying to put your crosshair on them right away, just practice moving it away and then flicking towards the enemy. And these are just some different things that I do that I think definitely helps when it comes to flicking. I like to warm up at least 30 minutes every day before I play ranked or scrims. It's nice to have a routine and be prepared for when the game goes live. I like to switch between playing the range and deathmatch, and I also like to focus on using every gun instead of just focusing on the Phantom and Vandal like most people. Because, you know, like pistol rounds are important, so like practicing the ghosts is huge. Anti-ecos, like, you know, playing the Spectre and being good with the Spectre is really good, as well as the Bulldog, right? That way you can buy a Bulldog second round and keep it for the next gun round, and it's still like really valuable. So, and you never know, like you might have to pick up an op or something, even though you never op. It's nice to like stay sharp on those weapons that, you know, you might have to use. If I'm using the op, I might try to be more flicky, but with the other guns, you know, I might focus on just crosshair placement and, you know, just aiming at the head.